Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 4 running back rankings. These are going to be my top 24 running backs on the week. This is for your fantasy football leagues, the ones where you have to make transactions in and out. You can use this in terms of daily fantasy if you just apply the salaries to it. All the DFS content's on the main channel. The second channel is going to be mostly season long and best ball fantasy football related. So welcome to the video. If you're new to the channel, please drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell. We're approaching 5,000 subscribers. We may get there by kickoff of week 4. So thank you guys for helping me build this secondary channel for me. It's been quite a ride. We come out with like 5-6 videos a week during football season on it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. And I appreciate you guys being here with me. So let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League for week 4 is posted on DraftKings. It's $10 as always. It's 3 max as always. And it is no rake as always. The best tournament that exists on DraftKings. I will give you this same disclaimer. They made it bigger. It is now 4,500 entrants instead of 4,000 like it has been for the first 3 weeks. But currently, based on the time it is today when I'm recording, it's about 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the 28th. It's 500 ahead of where it was last week. So last week it filled on Friday night. This is probably going to be full by midday on Saturday at the latest. So get in now before you get locked out. I'll shout out the winners on the recap video. Go to smizzle.tv/links. You'll find the entry there as well as everything else that I do. My Best Buys column on ESPN, the links to our Discord, my Twitch links if you wanted to catch the live stream, all of my socials, Instagram, Twitter, everything else are right there in the link tree at smizzle.tv/links, your one-stop shop for everything that I do. Numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the rankings are pretty straightforward this week. Christian McCaffrey sits at number 1 at home and favored a $5 running back this week. We haven't seen an explosion game from Christian McCaffrey yet, but it is coming. 100 yards on the ground, 2 straight games. Now, this game may be a situation where there is weather involved. If it is extreme weather based on the hurricane that's passing to the south right now, for all of you who are in Florida, I wish you the best. Please be safe. Do what you can. Hopefully that you and your families are in as good a position as you can with this hurricane passing through. But as it affects the football game, I may adjust this later in the week if it looks like this game is going to be greatly affected. And currently the total is down 4 on this game right now, but Christian McCaffrey sits as my number 1. Saquon Barkley is my number 2 currently. He has gotten all of the volume that we could have ever hoped for this year. This is exactly why I was drafting him where I was drafting him. 25 expected opportunities every single week. Now, I know that he fell short of that in week 2 with only 18 opportunities. That's carries plus targets, but 25 each in the first 2 games. We are a little bit dependent on the Giants offense to be more effective and efficient. I'm hoping that with the return of Wan'Dale Robinson and the return of Kadarius Toney on the outside and a little bit more explosiveness, the Giants will be able to move the chains more efficiently, which just means more touches for Saquon Barkley. At number 3, Jonathan Taylor. $5 running back this week at home, favored. Tennessee has allowed 14 red zone drives so far this year. This is a really soft landing spot for this Colts offense coming off of a couple of rocky kind of games for them. Look, and in 2 close games this season, we've seen Jonathan Taylor have 20 carries and 5 or more targets in both. Indy is a 3.5-point home favorite this week. At number 4, Leonard Fournette. Has anybody gotten more predictable and consistent volume than Leonard Fournette? I would say not. He has been the focal point of this Buccaneers offense, partially because everybody's either been hurt or suspended on the outside. Just like Saquon Barkley, as Tom Brady and the Buccaneers offense gets pieces and players back on the outside, it will mean better things and better days for this Buccaneers offense moving forward. And that means more touchdown opportunities for Leonard Fournette. Getting Mike Evans back, hopefully getting Godwin back this week, if not next. Evans is really the key piece, as he's the biggest separator that they have, biggest touchdown creator, biggest first down creator that they have on the outside. As those pass catchers get healthier for Tom Brady, this offense will hold the ball more, move the ball into the red zone more, which is really where Fournette shines for us. Dalvin Cook is sitting at number 5. They're in London this week. He sustained a bit of an injury last week to his shoulder, something that he's had repeatedly in his career. He is currently sitting as day-to-day. Here's the thing with him for us this week. If Dalvin Cook is out in London, You literally just swap in Alexander Mattison into this 5 spot. It does not change my rankings at all. If Dalvin Cook is healthy and going to be a full go and starting in this game, then I like Dalvin Cook in this spot. If Dalvin Cook is out this week, Alexander Mattison takes over the 5 spot for me. So go with whichever one is healthy. If Dalvin Cook's out, it's very clear Madison's my number 5. Joe Mixon comes in at number 6. Look, he's gotten everything we want from him. In fact, more. His usage in the passing game is something that we've seen in the past, but not as consistently as we've seen it this year. Cincinnati aspires to have the identity of a running the football team, and they have not subbed him out on passing downs, which has led to a ton of targets for Mixon. Love to see that. Alvin Kamara. Michael Thomas did not practice on Monday for that London game. If he is out, and if Jameis Winston's out in that game, then Alvin Kamara could see an absolute boatload of targets as they need to go through him to move the ball. Currently, I have him here at the number 7 spot. I might move him up 1, but like he seems locked in where he's at. I like him behind Joe Mixon. Austin Eckler comes in right behind him at 8. At number 9, Derrick Henry. The big dog's got to get loose at some point. They're still using him constantly inside the 5-yard line. The problem is this team has not had tremendous efficiency. He had a big game for us with 25.3 fantasy points in week 3 against Las Vegas. That could just be because of the soft spot defense we have against the Colts this week, not as soft as against the Raiders. But what's encouraging for Derrick Henry is 2 things: 20 touches on the ground in 2 games, 1 a win, 1 a loss. The week 2 game against Buffalo, they got absolutely throttled. He scored a touchdown in that game, but like, it is what it is. What's most encouraging, 6 targets for Derrick Henry in week 3. At number 10, Nick Chubb. Now, this could be an explosion spot for Nick Chubb, and he has performed extremely well this year. My issue with him in PPR leagues is that there's 2 things working against him. He has never really utilized all that much in the passing game. 3 targets is like a huge day for him. He has to break long runs. Luckily, that is something that is in his repertoire. 36-yard run in week 3, a 22-yard run in week 2, a 25-yard run in week 1. Like, that's just part of who he is. Great at breaking tackles, great at yards after first contact, and big playability. He is reliant on touchdowns, but he splits a lot of the inside the 5 work with Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt failed on first 3 downs. In that last game, they brought in Nick Chubb on 4th down, and he got into the end zone and collected a touchdown for us. That Jets game, he has the ability to have those multiple touchdown games. Sometimes it comes on a long run, but because of the presence of Kareem Hunt, I just can't rank him higher than number 10. Jamal Williams comes in as my number 11 this week because of the injury to DeAndre Swift. Now, Craig Reynolds might become a thing, but Jamal Williams looks like Craig Williams is fine. He's going to pound a little bit. He's going to run a little bit. I don't think that they're going to take Jamal Williams out of his current role as their short yardage back. He is still in that role. I think they're going to expand his role on 1st and 2nd down to include some of those Swift touches, and then they'll work in Craig Reynolds a little bit. I'm expecting 65 to 75% of the snaps and running back touches for Detroit going to Jamal Williams, so I love him in this spot. Aaron Jones splitting work is what keeps him down here at 12. Luckily, Green Bay wants to run the hell out of the ball, like 35 rushing attempts expected. I don't expect 20 touches out of Aaron Jones. I do like his involvement in the passing game way more so than A.J. Dillon. Dillon's been good, but like, this is kind of how they're splitting it. They're going to give like 12 to 15 carries a game to Aaron Jones. They're going to get him 3 to 6 targets a game. The problem with Aaron Jones is his touchdown upside is limited. As efficient as he's been inside the 5 historically, they're giving those touches. He's getting out-touched inside the 5, inside the 10, and in the red zone completely to A.J. Dillon at all levels so far this year. So that's holding him down at number 12 for me this week. You see the tracking bar at the bottom of the screen. We're approaching $25,000 raised so far collectively. Every $10,000 that our community raises for No Kid Hungry, I am going to match $10,000 up to $50,000. You've already triggered the first match from me. The next match comes when the community gets to $30,000. No Kid Hungry provides school breakfasts and lunches to food insecure kids across this country. No kid should not know where their next meal is coming from. So if you have the ability, if you have $1, $5, $10, $20, or $100, every single dollar counts. Every single dollar helps. So do what you can. Go to smizzle.tv/links or directly to the Tiltify link at smizzle.tv/charity. All of your donations are 100% tax deductible. It goes straight through Tiltify and directly to No Kid Hungry, and they will handle all of the tax paperwork and send it directly to your email after you give. So please help us reach those goals as a community. We can do something massive here collectively through fantasy football and turn into a charitable giving situation. So be a part of something bigger than yourself and donate a little something to No Kid Hungry. Number 13, Javonte Williams, another situation. We're a running back by committee league, right? That's just who the NFL is right now. Javonte Williams is the bigger splash back. He is the flashier back. He is better in the passing game than Melvin Gordon III, but Melvin Gordon, MG3, is taking all of the short yardage snaps because he tends to not lose yardage. So when they need that 1 yard, when they need those 2 yards, they go with the MG3 package. That is going to severely limit the upside of Javonte Williams and keep him out of the RB1 conversation for me, at least for now. This is the problem. Until MG3 misses a game, until MG3 cedes that short yardage role to Javonte Williams, it's hard to rank him higher than where we have him here at 13. 14 is Cordero Patterson. I'd love to see him take on more work in the passing game because that is his greatest skill set, or greatest part of his skill set. He has gotten 100 yards or more twice in the 3 games that they've played so far. Atlanta has a better offense, I think, than people were willing to give them credit for before the season. We would just like it as fantasy players if Cordero actually got a little bit more usage in the passing game because that's more valuable than the carries. But he's been solid so far. I have him as my running back 14 on the week this week at home and against Cleveland. That takes us to number 15 with Antonio Gibson, who's been fine. Like, he's not thrilling, but like, he's nice. It is what it is, right? We want him to be more, but he just hasn't been. He is going to give up some targets, and his targets are going to be mixed from week to week. We saw one last week against Philadelphia in a game where they got run 24-8. But then in the previous 2 weeks against Detroit and Jacksonville, he saw 4 and 8 targets. Hopefully he will maintain that first 2 week usage in the passing game to buoy his floor. But JD McKissic is on the team, is a real thing. And Antonio Gibson, they're not going to play from ahead all that often. And especially if Dak Prescott comes back this week and the Dallas Cowboys become a little bit more favorites, more likely to play from ahead in this game, Gibson could theoretically get scripted out of this situation here. Moving on to number 16, Josh Jacobs. On Monday night, he's done well. Like, nobody was ever thrilled to draft Josh Jacobs, right? He was in the running back dead zone. Most people tried to avoid him, but like, he's been fine, but not thrilling. Like, he's no touchdowns yet, but you know that when they get inside the red zone and inside the 5-yard line, he is going to get his share because of how much every other team knows that Davante Adams is going to get tossed the ball. Those 1-yard plunges are going to come for Josh Jacobs as long as he stays healthy. Last week he was sick, still made the trip, carried the ball efficiently, 5.1 yards per carry, 66 on the ground, and caught 5 of 6 balls that were headed his way. AJ Dillon comes in for me at number 17. Like I said, the 1-2 punch in Green Bay. They are a team that aspires to run the ball a ton. They are the biggest favorites on the week at 11 points right now. And AJ Dillon is out snapping Aaron Jones inside the 5, inside the 10, and inside the red zone completely. He is good enough in the passing game to add something there, but the touchdown upside for AJ Dillon is greater than the touchdown upside for Aaron Jones, and that kind of vaults him to this spot, as Green Bay could completely throttle New England this week. And if they do, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they use AJ Dillon in the cleanup work if they are up 2 touchdowns or more in the 4th quarter and sit Aaron Jones. So the 20 touch possibility is here for him, although probabilistically it's a little bit lower. I would expect like 15 to 18 touches from him, and if they get close, those carries are probably going to go to Dillon. So touchdown upside here, which keeps him ahead of Ezekiel Elliott at number 18. Elliott has done what he has been asked, right? So like, he's done what has been asked of him, and like, Tony Pollard has just looked better, right? He has popped on the screen. A 55-yard catch for Tony Pollard in week 2, a 46-yard run from scrimmage, giving him 100 yards on 13 carries in week 3. But Ezekiel Elliott remains the alpha in this offense. 15 carries for 73 yards, 4.9 a carry and a touchdown is exactly fine. 14.5 fantasy points for you in week 3. This is not a situation where we have to get off Zeke. No matter what I think about Tony Pollard and his explosiveness, they have an owner who's a megalomaniac and is going to make decisions. And when he has made those decisions, like we have to pay Zeke and everybody says you're wrong, he's going to do everything he can to prove that he's right and everybody else is wrong. So as long as Ezekiel Elliott is healthy and on this team, he is going to get the lion's share of the carries, lion's share of the inside the 5 carries. And the Cowboys are at home and favored against a Washington defense that is not equipped to stop Ezekiel Elliott. Khalil Herbert comes in at 19 because of the David Montgomery injury. You know what he did last week, looked fantastic for the Chicago Bears. He was a great zero RB candidate throughout the offseason and through draft season. If you were a zero RB or a hero RB drafter, you probably have some shares of him on your team. And kudos to you because he's looked great. Damien Pierce has also looked great when given the opportunity. No idea why they did not play him in week 1. He was by far their best running back throughout the preseason. We have yet to see if he is able to catch balls in the passing game because they just haven't thrown the balls to him. 4 targets in 3 games so far. Maybe he's just not a good pass catcher. I have not read anything that said he's not a good pass catcher, but that's not how they've deployed him so far. The 2 fumbles in week 3 are a bit concerning, but like we just live with that when you've got a running back as talented as he is. 20 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown with 2 catches, and going up against the Chargers at home, who are struggling with a ton of injuries right now and got throttled at home against Jacksonville last week. So this is possibly an up week for Damien Pierce, who I've got him ranked at 20, but like I would not be shocked if he finishes like a top 15 running back when all is said and done. Jeff Wilson Jr., the RB1 for San Francisco is always going to be in the top RB1, RB2 candidate list. The problem with this is they have a difficult game against the Rams on Monday night. So that defensive line for the Rams might hold him in check a little bit, but this San Francisco offense is one that is, I don't know, it's just tough to stop. It's so well crafted and so varied in the way that they do things that it keeps you from being able to key on anything defensively, and they just seem to get their yards. I know that I said earlier erroneously that Denver was on Monday night. My bad. Apologies for that. I know that y'all have probably already left in the comments that Denver's not playing on Monday night in the replies down below. My bad. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I got something wrong. So thank you for correcting me. I appreciate you guys who did, but it's the Rams against the 49ers on Monday night. That's who's playing in that situation. Moving on to number 22, James Conner for the Cardinals playing against the Panthers. Again, this is a weather watch situation. I can't keep Conner out of the conversation because like the amount of volume that he gets in theory is really good in this offense, right? So with the way that Arizona has played so far, it's led to him not having a ton of volume, but we'd always rather have targets than catches. 5 targets in week 3, 4 targets in week 2, 6 targets in week 1, but the carries have been down to 13, 7, and 10, working backwards from week 3 to 1. He has not popped just yet. Carolina has been tougher than expected on defense and more opportunistic, really. But I don't know that they've been tested by an offense as solid and as varied and that puts as much pressure on you at different angles than Arizona. So James Conner comes in at 22. Number 23 is James Robinson. Shocking stat that I saw that James Robinson has been the one running back who has been hit the most behind the line of scrimmage so far this year out of every running back that's out there. Another zero RB candidate that's coming through. Man, zero RB was really the way to go in drafts this year, huh? Looking back at it, at least early, right? We're only through 3 weeks. It's a long season, plenty of football to go. But James Robinson was not being drafted. He was like at the 140 spot. And Travis Etienne, the RB2 on this team, was being drafted in like the late 30s, early 40s. Mistake! James Robinson is the lead guy. 17 carries in week 3, 23 carries in week 2, 3 targets in week 3, 2 targets in week 2, a touchdown in every game at least, with 2 in week 1. James Robinson is here and he's here to stay. The problem is he is squaring off against a really tough defense in Philadelphia, who does get penetration 55% of the time on his runs. James Robinson has been touched behind the line of scrimmage. That's shocking. Speaking of Philadelphia, we have Miles Sanders as my last running back on this list as the RB24 on the week. I would have hoped that Miles Sanders would have gotten a little bit more love than he's gotten so far this year. He still has some explosiveness with at least a 10-yard carry, at least a 12-yard carry in every game this year. He just has not gotten a ton of volume, and like he gets lifted inside the 5-yard line for Boston freaking Scott, who's like 118 pounds, dripping wet and wearing boots. Like, What, can we just get a peek for Miles Sanders close to the goal line? Just a peek, just a ha, just something small. Throw us a bone, Philly. Let the man, like, he's never been efficient catching the ball, right? I know he can catch it, but like his passing efficiency or his ratings when he has caught the ball have never been good. He caught one ball for -2 yards in week 3. He caught three balls on 3 targets in week 2 for 6 yards, caught 2 catches for 9 yards in week 1. Maybe it's deployment. Maybe it's the way that they're utilizing Miles Sanders in the passing game, but he's just not been super efficient there. Hopefully he can get back to getting some of those inside the 5 carries like he did in week 1, where he got 3 of them and ended with 1 touchdown. But right now, I can't rank him higher than 24. Thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.